Christopher Titus, and this is the Armageddon Update. Holy crap. Is 2022 not the nirvana we thought it would be? With COVID ending, the economy booming, traders in jail, and 50 cents a gallon gas. Instead, 2022's turned into a hellscape of conspiracies, inflation, and it's feeling kind of World War-ish. Thanks, Putin. And now the Supremest Court in the land, the Supreme Court, has had a future ruling leaked to the public. And it basically says they're going to overturn a woman's right to an abortion. Now, as a man, I don't get to have an opinion because I ain't birthing no babies, but I do have an opinion about the women in my life, my friends, my relatives. And it's stunning to me that the people that thought wearing a mask was taking your freedom, but will gladly take a woman's right to her own body. Yeah, remember this? Yeah, my body, my choice. Now, the argument always is, you're killing babies. Okay, well, let's look at that. So every doctor, clinic, medical journal, hospital, and scientist worldwide said that it's not a viable human being until 24 weeks of gestation. In fact, the world record preemie. Oh, God, can I call them that? Or do I have to refer to them as early birthy Americans? I don't know. The rules are weird now. Anyway, the record preemie that survived was 21 weeks old. But remember, that was like an X Games preemie. That was the Tony Hawk of preemies. So according to science, until 24 weeks or 6 months, it's not a viable human being. And again, that's not me. I'm a moron comedian. That's science. It's not the Bible. It's not the Quran, not any old white man on the Supreme Court. In fact, the 14th Amendment says a fetus is not a citizen. So there's that, the Constitution. The other thing is that these Supreme Court justices, all of them flat out lied in their confirmation hearings.
Courts in general should follow their past precedents.
Again, I would tell you that Roe versus Wade, decided in 1973, it is a precedent of the United States Supreme Court. It was reaffirmed in Casey in 1992.
That it has been reaffirmed many times over the past 45 years.
You agree with Justice Scalia's view that Roe was wrongly decided?
I can't pre-commit or say, yes, I'm going in with some agenda, because I'm not. I don't have any agenda.
Important things to keep in mind about Roe v. Wade is that I liked beer. I still like beer.
And look, we've all lied at a job interview, except it didn't matter that I lied when I got a job slopping Big Macs. But in this case, killing Roe isn't going to save babies. It's going to kill women. But when is a baby really a baby? When it gets its soul, right, Bible people? Well, the Bible says, Genesis 2:7, he breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and it was then that man became a living being. Although the man was fully formed by God in our respects, he was not a living being until after taking his first breath. That's the Bible, Bible thumpers. See? So it's not a child until baby Elvis leaves mama's building. So that means that the soul just stays in the waiting room, reading Highlights magazine, deciding whether it's going to be goofus or gallant until mommy gets knocked up again, and then right back. Ha ha. You know, my problem with all of this is, and I'm going to paraphrase George Carlin, one of my favorites. If the Republicans really cared about a baby, any baby, then they would vote for prenatal care, child care, preschool, a better education, healthy food in the schools, clean water, clean air. But you know what? The Republicans never have cared about the born. They care about the unborn.
If you're preborn, you're fine. If you're preschool, you're fucked. You're fucked.
I'm Christopher Titus, and this is the Armageddon Update. And by the way, with my life, when I was born, I was fucked. You know what? I wonder if I could do a late-term abortion on me now. Oh, God, so tired of this shit! Everybody, Christopher Titus Podcast. Shut up! My dogs are... All right,
You're being heckled by your dog.
This is Groucho, and Chaplin just sitting there. He's sleeping and barking. How is he sleeping and barking?
Multitask.
Yeah, so guys, with me as always, the lovely bombshell Ray.
What's up?
And the Highlander.
There could be only one.
Can I give you guys a surprise? Today, we are going to have Brian Regan, one of the best comedians working ever, is going to be on the show. Yeah. Brian is a legend. I don't know him very well. I think I ran into him once or twice. He was kind enough. I just hit him on the DM. He was kind enough to do the show. So he will be on in a little bit. But let's talk about how America is totally being unraveled like a burrito right now. I just, here's the problem. I don't even want to talk about the ins and outs of it. I want to talk.
Is that a hint?
I want to talk about I got something this week when it happened, when they found, by the way, who totally scammed the Supreme Court and took Alito's
somebody that's
brief.
Going to prison for a long time. But I have a
You
suggestion.
think so? Do you think they are?
Because the world is hard, I think that because Brian Regan is calling now, that we should let him in, have some positivity, come back and talk about this horror.
All right, so we're gonna do that first. All right, so we're gonna bring Brian Regan on the podcast. What do you think? You ready? Are you ready for Brian Regan?
I'm ready.
Are you ready?
I think I'm ready.
Ray, are you ready for Brian Regan?
Yeah.
You want to tell me a little bit about what you think about Brian Regan before we bring him on?
I love Brian Regan. He makes us laugh all the time.
Silly laugh,
consistently. When he comes on serious when we're driving, it's like jokes that we quote to each other. The character, I love his dumb character. He is never not funny.
He has a way of mining the normal absurdity of this life.
Yes.
He's great. He does what great comics do is he actually finds a way, something that you've done every day that you just don't even think about. He's like, why do we do that? And he goes into it and you're like, holy shit, our school.
Which makes his stuff so relevant because you're
always.
in your day-to-day life and it's happening. The thing that he said.
May I say relevant and timeless?
Yes, very.
All right, so let's go to Brian Regan. We have with us today the amazing, the great, the legendary Brian Regan. Have a hand for Brian Regan. Just so you know, B, we've only had like 6 guests ever on the podcast. We just don't. I like to hear me talk. So it's an honor.
You can still talk the whole time. I'll just be another guy listening to you talk.
I was watching some of your new stuff, man, and the bit you opened with the gray hair thing. I'm not letting it go, man. This is staying like this. I'm not letting it go. It's snuck in on the sides. I'm not letting it go. I'm gonna puff my face up like a lazy boy recliner. I'm just gonna hold on to it desperately, my friend.
Just having hair is I'm fortunate in that regard. And during
saying.
COVID, I stopped coloring it. I've been coloring my hair for years. I went prematurely gray, probably in my late 30s, early 40s. So,
wow. So last year?
During COVID, I was like, all right, I'm not doing this. And then when I went out after COVID, I was like, I don't feel like coloring it. And I was like, I am what I am.
You did a joke though. You said that they were gonna not listen to anything for about for the first hour. Did you notice it was weird at first?
Yeah, I knew I had to comment on it because when I was going on stage prepping for that special, if I would go on stage and not mention the gray hair, it was just weirdness for 5 minutes. I could tell everybody's whispering to each other.
Right. I like that you countered the grayness with the leather jacket in that special. That was really nice. It was like old cool rocker guy. It was awesome.
I had to compensate somehow.
So, are you coming into LA for doing something for Netflix?
Yeah.
Sunday night, I'm doing the Wiltern Theater as part of the Netflix is a Joke festival. I guess there are a number of comedians performing that week. So I'm there Sunday.
How many hours is this you've done now? How many hours of material is this now?
Well, that won't be a special. That's just me performing. Right. But I think I have 8 or 9 different 1-hour things out there.
God. So can I tell something about something that you did legendary? Because I tried to look it up online and there's really no record of it. It's like this legendary thing you did. So years ago, I was on the road and I was working clubs like we all did because he started in 80, I started in 82, 83 actually, and we've been doing comedy a long ass time, my friend. But he did a thing where this legend came through me. It was like this whispering. It was like, Regan's doing 2 shows. He's doing one show Friday, first show, and a totally different show Friday, second show. Now, isn't fucking insane as that sounds, how did that build, Mike? How did you, I'm proud of me. I'm on my 10th special. I'm proud that I've written that much material. How did you do it's ridiculous. I mean, what were you thinking? What was the level of crazy that you were like, hey, that's what I'm doing. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna really, really hurt my brain a lot.
Well, the way it happened is, remember when one-man shows started to become a big thing?
Oh, yes, I do. Actually, I was part of that. I was part of that disease, yes.
Rob Becker had Defending the Caveman, and there were a lot of one-man shows that were beginning to, get some attention and get some momentum and that sort of thing. So some people in my group said, you should come up with a one-man show. And I'm like, I didn't want to do that. I like stand-up being stand-up. I didn't want to do a one-man show. But I thought, well, what could I do that would be somewhat interesting that might have, I don't know, some clout to get some publicity around it. And around the time I had a couple of hours of material that I was playing with and mixing up from night to night anyway. And I thought, well, why don't I just do 2 completely different 1-hour sets and go to a place for an extended period of time and use that as a selling point. Like if somebody came out to see the show, then we would have table tents on the tables saying, hey, if you like what you saw, Brian has another hour. You could come back tomorrow night or later in the week or next week and see a completely different hour. And so I had 2 different 1-hour sets that I would do, and seemed to work out okay.
So you would do an extended run in a comedy club because you just hate yourself? Why would you do that? Why would
I would
you?
do sometimes I would do a month in a comedy club, you know.
You gotta be kidding me, man. That's insane. Don't you think, though, the one-man, it's such a misnomer. Like, so many comics got on that train. They were like, I'm doing a one-man show. And they took that to mean I no longer need to be funny every 15 seconds. Do you know what I mean? Like, so many guys took it on as like, I really want to be serious, and my dad used to beat me, and then there was no punchline. I watched a few of them, and that's why when I wrote Norman Rockwell, you had to have a punchline. I wanted it to be, I wanted to go as deep as a one-man show, but I didn't want it to be not funny. And I think that's where some guys kind of got off the track on that.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think anybody should do whatever they want to do. And, if somebody wants to do a more serious kind of performance that has some humor to it, and that's fine. Everybody do whatever they wanted to do. But I loved stand-up for stand-up, and I liked the art of it, and I didn't want to change it. And so I thought, well, here's the way where I can still just be doing stand-up comedy. But there's, something interesting about it that people will come back hopefully to see. But there are a few things that backfired. One is, like, I perform in a club, and the MC, I would say to the MC, when I'm done, go on stage and say, hey, listen, if you liked what you saw, Brian has another hour, and you can just look at the calendars on your table and you can come back and see the other hour. And sometimes the MCs wouldn't get it, and they go on stage and say, every time you come back, Brian's going to have a completely different hour.
Oh my God.
And I'm like,
I just grew a tumor.
Don't be putting this pressure on me, man. I'm not going to have a different hour every single time they come back.
I'm already bringing 2. Shut up.
I can barely do 2.
You just change one word. Different show.
What do you think about that? Like you said, I mean, I very diplomatic of you, because I think if the building says comedy on it, you bring comedy. If you comedy, no matter what you're talking about. Like Pryor went deep, but he was always stayed funny. I know Jerry said, Lane Boozer is a friend of ours, and she said that Jerry said never bleed on him. You never want to bleed on him. And I find I do that. I'll go, I go as deep as I can into my life, but I always make sure I have a punchline. And I just want it to always be, I don't know, man, it's comedy first. I think it's always got to be funny first, but then there's a bonus, man. You bring something to the stage that, and when I saw that you love Steve Martin, I thought, I get it. I totally get it. There is an extra fun, like we'll be quoting stuff all the time. Cup of dirt, like we do shit all the time. That's what I was going to say.
I always think I do comedy as well, and I have always thought that the hallmark of a truly good comedian is you will be going about your normal everyday life and all of a sudden be quoting them in relevance to what's happening in your life. And I would say we've probably surpassed 1,000 times that we've been going up the jet bridge going, you too!
Yeah.
You too! Every time. Have a nice flight, you too. Damn it!
That's very flattering. Thank you.
We quote you a lot.
So what do you want to do, man? Are you going to retire from this ever, or are you just going to keep going till you go out, till you check out?
It's a good question. I have. You mentioned Seinfeld earlier. Seinfeld thinks like all comedians should just basically do stand up until they die, and maybe there's something to that, but. Maybe I'm the exception. I have retirement fantasies, man. I do. I have like, let's be done with this and be on a porch and just have coffee and not worry about the grind. Not that I'm complaining. I'm very fortunate to be able to do what I do, but I might at some point go, all right, I've I put a little body of work out there. I'm proud of it, and I'm just going to travel around and enjoy my life. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Do you know the Dick Shawn story? How Dick Shawn went out?
No.
So Dick Shawn, he was in all those like surf drag racing movies. Always played a gang member. Very funny. He was a very funny guy, but he was doing a college tour of sketches, and he was going through colleges, and he did I found out he was doing a dance sketch, like, and he just keeps dancing faster and faster and faster, and then in the middle of the sketch, he goes down, like near the end of it, he goes down on and because of the way he built the sketch. It looks like part of the sketch. He had a massive heart attack. They laughed for 3 minutes, and then the laughter just slowly died down. And they went over and they're like, "Oh, this is not a bit." Yeah, and I thought,
he's really committed to this.
I lived in San Francisco at the time that happened, and I thought, perfect. I would be happy with that. I love this so much, man. I wanted to do comedy when I was 5. You know.
Man, I didn't know at that young of an age, but. I was always funny. I was always, I don't mean like pat myself on the back, but I always made my friends laugh and my family laugh and that sort of thing. But to me, show business was like a million miles from me. You know what I mean? Like show business was out in Los Angeles or New York. I grew up in Florida, and it's like, so it didn't even cross my mind that I could do it until I was in college, and I started like emceeing college activities. One time they asked me if I would MC the roommate game, like the mating game.
Yeah.
And I put a sport jacket on and I had and I MC'd in front of everybody on campus, and I was able to be funny, like those laughs get inside your bones, and I'm like, man, I don't know what this is. But I the laughs, it just took over, and I was like, I need this. Whatever this is, this is what I need for my happiness. And so I set out on that stand-up quest.
Yeah, but you had that accountant thing going on. You were like, you were going to be an accountant. And like, how hard was it to make that decision?
Well, I tell you, I went to college thinking I was going to be an accountant. Okay.
That's the goofy
Already
shit.
hilarious.
That's the goofy who you ended up to be. You'd be the best accountant ever. I go, I cannot wait till my taxes are due. We're going to go see Brian.
I'm telling you. But my dad was an accountant. He worked for Eastern Airlines. They went bankrupt, so I should have known right then. Maybe it's not in my genes. And so I went to college just by default, picked accounting as a major. And then I took some other classes, and I took a speech class. And I used to try to make my speeches funny. And that first time that I did a speech, in front of 30 classmates and the teacher, and had them howling, including the teacher. She was in the back, this woman howling. And I had never impressed a teacher in my life, with anything. So I got to class laughing, and then I remember walking back to the dorm going, I don't feel like this after accounting class. So I'm like, whatever this is, man, this is, I got to go in this direction.
So where did you start? What was your first club?
Well, the first comedy club was the Comic Strip in Fort Lauderdale. It was a sister club to the Comic Strip in New York. So they opened a comedy club in Fort Lauderdale. And it was right around the time when I knew I wanted to be a comedian, but comedy clubs were only in New York City and Los Angeles. So I was going to move. I was planning on trying to move to New York to get into comedy. And then I saw this ad in the Miami Herald, Comic Strip Comedy Club, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, open mic night, Monday nights. Of all the advertisements in the world that I've come across, this is the one that just reached out of the newspaper, just grabbed me like by the neck. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I can get to this place with a tank of gas, And so I auditioned at the Comic Strip in Fort Lauderdale, and that was the club that I started at.
Can we talk about the sketch show too, man? We watched the sketch show on Netflix. I got to be honest, man. You never know how people are going to translate and what you did, the writing was so good. I really enjoyed it. What happened with that? It was great. It was great, man. In sketch comedy, we've done some here, you know, over COVID. We have a sound stage. That's what that's what you're kind of looking at right now. We did a bunch of sketch shows, and it's tough, man. It's tough to get, it's in a weird way. I find it, well, Ray and I work together, so there's a rhythm that she can pick up the ball when I drop it, but it's a little bit harder. Did you find it was harder than stand-up?
It's definitely different. The way I write as a stand-up is sort of sketch-oriented anyway. You know, it's like a lot of my jokes are situations. They're vignettes. It's me and a doctor. It's me and a flight attendant. It's me and an inanimate object. It's me and an ironing board or a microwave oven. It's always a little scene. And the first time I actually sat down and tried to write out my act, script it out, that's when it dawned on me. I was like, these are little tiny plays. Right. They're like little plays. So I realized that I was the world's laziest playwright because I couldn't write a play that lasted more than 1 minute, you know? I'm not going to put backstory and worry about character development. I just like these little tiny plays, and I string them together and call them a comedy act. But that kind of thinking just really lent itself to sketch. I was like, well, I would love to approach sketches and try that. I'd still like to do more of those. So I appreciate you saying kind words about it.
I just think it's we've had so many chances. Like I had 3 before I had my TV show. I had 3 deals, and you've had a bunch of deals. And the one thing I always told people about stand up was I will never be actor meat. There's this Hollywood, New York's never going to run my life. I will always be able to walk into a room and drop an hour of jokes and pay my rent and feed myself. And it's funny because as TV's gotten more, as expanded, there's so much of it now. There's so much good stuff. And yet the actors, I have a lot of friends who are actors, and they're not getting paid any. So stand up is by far better, don't you think?
I love it, man. I mean, I've loved it from Jump Street. I never got into it for money. I just knew that I wanted to do it. And then I love being able to make a living at it. I say this to people, and I think they think I'm making this up. When a show is over, I don't think ever in my career have I ever said, all right, who do I have to talk to get my check? You know what I mean? I don't even think about it. I always have to be reminded, somebody has to go, by the way, here's your check. And you're like, I've got the ultimate scam. I would pay to do stand-up comedy. I would pay to do it. Everybody, Chris Titus will pay to do stand-up comedy. Stop paying him. He will pay you.
All right, I'll see you later.
Oh man, I wish Ray doesn't feel that way.
We are on the road a lot, and
Yep.
we will look at each other and sometimes and just say, we get paid to do this. They haven't figured out that we're completely scamming everybody. They're giving us money to do this thing that we got in trouble for doing in school, right?
Yeah, right. Yep. I always give comics advice. It's there's so many comics that you ever have a comic ask you for advice, and you spend time with them and you give them the advice that will help them, and then you see them 6 months later and they haven't done anything you said, absolutely nothing that you said. And then there's the 3 or 4 guys that listen to you,
and then they ask you again.
No, yeah. And then the next thing, it didn't really work out. You know that writing thing you do every day? That didn't really help my comedy. Really? Did you try it? Yeah, for a day. And then I got some pot. But comics that have taken it on really have risen up, man. Do you find those guys like that? Because I want Ray. Ray's been doing it 13 years now. She just released her first special. She's working on her second one. She got invited to Scotland to the Fringe Fest for her new show.
Yay.
Yeah, I'm going with that one too. And so you talk to a young comic. You talk to a young comic right now. What advice would you give the young comic? Be as brutal as you can. Be Bobby Slayton for a second.
No, he's not. I love Bobby. I love Bobby. I will say I tanked it one year at Aspen, and after the show, and you do it in front of everyone that you know. And I used to run comedy clubs, and so I used to employ these people. And now I've come and completely made an ass of myself in front of them trying to do stand-up. And everyone after the show backstage, when I got off stage, I went to the green room and everyone was like, you did this and you should have done this. And I'll never forget Bobby stepping in and going, hey, everybody, back off her. She's had a tough time already. And then he put his arms around me and led me out. And I was like, Bobby has a heart.
You know what bothers me is that set was so bad that Bobby Slayton, you made Bobby Slayton nice. That's a bad show. When Slayton just comes out, when Slayton walks up and goes, hey, everyone shut up. That means you really shit the bed.
That's a good point.
Good honor, man. Good for you. Well, good for him and good for you.
He's a good dude. Slayton's such a misunderstood guy, I think. We loved Bobby. Bobby he lived 4 houses down from us, and I had a black Corvette at the time, and I would pull up into my house, and I just from down the street, I hear, hey, Batman! He would just fucking yell stupid shit down the street.
Who did you come up with? I mean, who were you working with that still does stand-up? Who was your generation?
Well, when I started, like I said, the first comedy club was at the Comic Strip in Fort Lauderdale. Jeff Garlin.
Oh yeah.
He went the sketch route. He went up and did Second City TV and stuff like that. He was one of the comedians that started with me at the Comic Strip. I used to love. He'd go on stage and did all these goofy characters and stuff like that. A little bit different than normal stand-up, but it was character-oriented stuff, which I really liked. John Manfrolotti started down there. He was a regular on Ray's show as not a super regular, but you would see him from time to time on Ray's sitcom, Ray Romano. But not a lot of people came out of there that I'm aware of.
How many people lasted, really? You just listed all the ones that lasted. I was thinking about this the other day. I started in '83 in San Francisco, and I was kind of going down the list of guys that lasted, and it's weird because it's the guys that lasted were the guys that wrote, came up with new stuff all the time, didn't burn their livers out drinking. It's such a to last. I'll be at 40 years in 2023. Yeah.
Who was the guy that used to sing to the canned ham, or the canned ham was Elvis?
Bob Rubin in San Francisco. Do you remember Bob Rubin?
Mm-mm.
Oh man, dude,
how could you not remember the man with the canned ham?
Dude, he would come out. It was San Francisco. San Francisco went through this really alternative, crazy phase. Bob would come out, put a canned ham on a stool, have a spotlight on it, stand to the side of the stage, and sing Suspicious Minds while the light was on the canned ham, and sing the whole song, Brian. It was an interesting.
I don't get it.
Here's what I love about comics like that. I have fear and desperation to me. I want to get a laugh at most 15 seconds. I want to be like boom, boom. And if it gets silent, I get kind of freaky. The guys that can live and revel in the silence, Harland is like that sometimes. Harland, I think Harland's hilarious until Harland switches the audience to his language, which he does. He takes about 5. Yes. He switches there, then he's the funniest. But for a second, man, you're like, what's going on? The guys that can live in the silence, that can just keep writing the silence until it's uncomfortable. I don't know, man. I think I'm better at it now. I can do it now on new material. But boy, man, I'm always in awe, like a little kid watching the carnival for the first time when I see a guy just go into the darkest or deepest place and just nothing. And you've never had that. I've never seen a set where you weren't just slaying.
Well, I mean, that's you haven't seen all my sets, Chris.
What's your last bad set? This is what I love. Instead of asking you, let's talk about comedy. Where'd you start? Let's go. Do you remember your last bad set? Like where you walked off stage going, "Wow, that was them."
Well, it would have probably been maybe a year ago, a corporate show or something like that.
Say no more.
Yeah. If I'm performing in front of people who are there to see me, then I've got my foot in the door. It's hard not to do at least do okay. You know what I mean? But if I'm in front of a group of people who are assembled for another reason, if they're there for a corporate event, they don't even know who the entertainer is, or even a TV taping like Letterman, or they're not there to see me. They're there to watch a TV taping. I'm a stranger that walks out. So if I'm performing in front of a group of people who are assembled for a reason other than me, my odds go down. You know what I mean?
And those corporate gigs, those are people that don't want to be there. So
Right.
they're already like, well, this is a level-related thing.
The corporate gigs, I learned something. My first corporate gig was with Kip Addotta. Remember Kip Addotta? Kip Addotta was a dark soul. Kip was dark. And so Kip was there one night, and I get up and open, and I'm such a young I mean, it's got to be 84. And I'm like, it's a Christmas party. And I was just full out, just doing every trick I knew that I could to pull them out. And I get them, and I made fun of the boss, which is always, people love when you make fun of the boss. There's things you had to, and I survived it. I got through. They laughed hard. I got a good applause. Walk off stage. Kip Addotta gets on stage and he starts doing his show, and it's not going well. And then there was a group of people that were from like Haiti that worked in the warehouse, and they were in the back, and they didn't understand what he was talking about, so they started talking. Kip Addotta goes, "Hey!" and he yells at him, heckles him, says something. They still don't pay attention. He keeps going again, and at one point, Brian, he goes, "Hey, gooks," he says it in a corporate. And he goes, "Do you know why I don't talk during a show? Because I know what could happen. Pool cue across the bridge of the nose." And I was sitting in the audience going, is this how this works? I was still so new. I'm like, is this what you're supposed to do at a Christmas corporate gig? It was awesome. And then he gets off stage, and I go, as I walk up to Kip Dot, I go, I had to be like 19 or 20. I go, that was kind of weird. He goes, "Shut up." And he walks past me, and he buys Coke in the hall of the hotel we were performing in from another dude that walked him out. And I thought, I'm not sure I want to do this. I'm not sure I want to do this.
Man, people are doing it for different reasons, I guess.
What's one of your weirdest gigs?
Geez. I've had a lot of weird ones. I was performing at the Improv in Tempe, Arizona, and a woman rode up on a bicycle. They saw her pulling up on a bicycle. She got out, she walked in through the club and just walked up on stage and just walked over and grabbed the microphone. And she said, "Now it's time for me to say something."
Oh, okay. And you said, "Yes."
I should have let her film my next 5 minutes, and then security came up and grabbed her and took her off stage. But I always regret not knowing, what is it she wanted to say? It was obvious.
5 minutes.
It was obviously very important to her. But to ride her bicycle up to the club to share
It
with
might have been
everybody.
bike jokes. You could have let her have 5. You could have dug out of any hole.
I regret it. I should have said, let her speak.
And by the way, I was reading some stuff about family too, man. I find out it was really cool to see how important your family and your kids are to you, man. It's really cool.
Yeah.
How old are they now?
Well, they're older now. My son is 23. My daughter is 18, and they're both just wonderful kids, man. And they make me laugh. As much as we like making people laugh, having somebody who knows you enough to make you laugh about yourself is really powerful, man. So I love that.
So your divorce went well. If your kids get along with you, your divorce went well.
Yes.
Mine didn't go well. So I'm still trying to. I'm still.
But you're not bitter at all.
I'm not angry at all. It's okay that they're poisoned for the rest of their lives. Get
back to the woman with the bicycle.
Yeah. So anyway, you should have just let her go. I noticed that like Seinfeld has said some things about he doesn't like the darkness and stuff, and you have found a way. And I watched the last 2 specials, and I really love what you've done in a sense of it's not when people say Brian's clean. Sometimes that's a weird misnomer because I don't think you're not like a Christian comic. You know what I mean? You're not like you're clean, but you're you always the attitude. You have enough attitude. It's not light. It's not dark either, but you're not just someone says he's a clean comic. I always kind of go, I watch him and you have edge without cussing, which is great.
I appreciate that. It means a lot to me because I've always felt that if people just hear the word clean but have never seen me, they're going to put a connotation to it that has nothing to do with what I do. They're going to think, what does a guy twist balloon animals on stage, and it's like, I'd like to think I'm conveying something, you know what I mean, that's interesting or whatever. And that's why, like, with my side, my press people, I say I never want the word clean in anything we're putting out. I can't help what other people write about me, but I never want to say, hey, clean comedian Brian Regan. I'd rather people decide for themselves what they like about it or don't like about it.
I've tried, man. I've taken it. I really work hard to take it out. There's a bit I'm doing in the new show, Zero Side Effects, which is about the last 2.5 years, about these dickheads who just, like, I give zero fucks. I think it's the downfall of the country. So I have to stop. And I tell the audience, I don't like to swear a lot on stage. I do it once in a while for spice and second show for survival. And then I do this bit about zero fucks because I just think it's the downfall of America. So it's weird. Even it bugs me a little bit too, because the best guys I loved. Pryor, if you look at Pryor, he swore. It was weird. It wasn't like he was swearing. Some comics use swearing like a bludgeon. You know what I mean? And Pryor just kind of, you just thought it was him. He just talked like that. And so I try not to use it as I don't like doing it. I don't like doing it. So I'm always respectful when someone can do it. What do you?
Well, it's like Mitch. You would never say Mitch is a clean comic or was a clean comic,
right?
But he didn't cuss, right. Dana Carvey,
Carvey
like that.
I've always used, and this is going to sound very self-serving, this analogy, but
go ahead, for God's sakes.
The Beatles were clean. Okay, could you imagine if every interview they did, all everybody ever talked about was how clean their music was? At a point they would go, okay, I guess, but that's definitely beside the point, isn't it? So it's just music, and to me it's just comedy. Clean is a little asterisk that you can put on there if you want, if it's important to you, but it's not the point of it.
I would just say he's funny as fuck. I would say Brian Regan is funny as fuck. That's what I would just say.
But you can't put that in his press
material. It should be actually in his promo, and then when you get there, you're like, he never, not once.
You know what I've always wanted to do? This is just like a fantasy of mine. I want to do a special where the backdrop, like on the side, the stage on the backdrop is just the word fuck, like big black letters on a white backdrop, and I want to come out with a hat that says fuck and a T-shirt that says fuck, and but do my act without ever cursing. I just do my act, and it's like, well, there it is if you need it.
Put these wherever you want, wherever you think.
Put them wherever you want. They're right there for you.
I like that. That's got a little bit of canned ham spice
to
it.
Yeah, it does. But also, like, CK did Sorry behind him on one of his shows. It would freak everybody out. Just pitch it to Netflix as a joke in the next pitch meeting. Be like, guys, here's how it starts. Just the lights come up on a giant 12-foot fuck. That's what, and then I come out, fuck, and then we go. I never swear though. Just sit back and watch. Please have your phone on and record their reactions. I would love to see them. Yeah.
And then I do my donut sprinkle joke.
I would go to see that.
All right, so are you sold out at the Wiltern now? You're done?
I don't know.
Let's promote it. In case you aren't, let's do two things. Let's sell more tickets if you aren't, and let's piss everybody off if you are. Go ahead.
I'm at the Wiltern Theater. I don't know what date Sunday is. Whatever this Sunday is, Sunday, May 8th. Sunday, May 8th at the Wiltern. Yeah. And I also have my original CD, Brian Regan Live. It's the 25-year anniversary of that. So next week, Sirius XM is having Brian Regan Week, and they're going to be playing that and all my specials. They're going to be playing all of them all next week. So pretty happy about that.
And really, you guys, you have many opportunities to see Brian. He has a very busy schedule coming up. Tulsa, Kansas City, Wichita, Johnson City, Tennessee, Chattanooga, Memphis, Fayetteville. He's going to be in New Hampshire, Massachusetts. So just go to brianregan.com, Brian with an I. And you have a lot of dates coming up, and some of them are sold out already. So hurry up on that.
How did you like doing the series? Recently?
The Netflix?
No, the thing you did with...
Loudermilk.
Yes.
I was very honored. Peter Farrelly of the Farrelly Brothers co-created the show called Loudermilk, which is on Prime Video. 3 seasons are out. It's a dark comedy. It's about substance abuse. Ron Livingston plays Loudermilk, who runs a substance abuse group with a bunch of misfits in it. And Peter Farrelly gave me this role to play this guy named Muggsy, who's an alcoholic trying to get his life together, estranged from his kids. And they gave me a lot to do, not in season 1, but they built my character up. Season 2, they gave me some meaty stuff. Season 3, they really hit me with a storyline, and it gave me an opportunity to act, and I felt like I did okay with it. And
you did great with it. Holy shit. Farrelly's a nice guy. He's such a nice human being. We did he actually gave me notes when I did that movie Special Unit about, disabled. Due to the Fairness and Disabilities Act, the LAPD has to hire 4 handicapped undercover detectives, and I basically play the worst cop in LA, and I've got to take them and teach them because I wanted to make them, some friends of mine are comics and they have disabilities. So I wrote a movie, we got it financed, and we shot it. And Farrelly I just get a call out of nowhere from Mr. Farrelly, and he just goes, "Hey man, I heard you doing this movie. We did it." He said we kind of got it wrong with The Ringer. He goes, "I want to see what you're doing, and if I can help, I would love to." And he gave me script notes, man. Doesn't even know me. And then after it was done, never talk to me again. But I can live with that. He did his job. It was it.
He can't live with that.
I can't live with it.
Well, he's probably telling the story you were telling earlier. You ever give somebody notes and they don't do any of them?
You know what's weird? I found them. Here's the weird thing. I found them, and I only took about 45% of them. So you're absolutely right. You called it. You just called it. I'm a dick.
Does he know I'm Peter Farrelly? Yeah.
Exactly. I would have been. I'm Peter Farrelly. I could have helped the movie. He wouldn't have to explain it to Brian Regan on his podcast. People would know. Brian would go, "Oh yeah, that movie." But I didn't listen, for God's sakes. Well, dude, I know you're. I want to tell you something. You are a legend in comedy, man. You are part of the reason that I started writing all the time was because of you and Carlin. When you did the Idiot and the Iliad and the Oddity, I remember. It hit me in a weird way. It hit me like, holy fuck. Because everybody at that time was doing comedy. Guys would do the same act, and it still happens for 8 years at a time. Someone told me once years ago, if the wait staff is mouthing your act, you fucked up. You blew it. You're not doing your job. And that you've cared about this, that you care about stand-up, like I care about stand-up. And so many guys don't. Ask her. She's my wife, and she would get off stage sometimes in a certain thing, and she wasn't my wife anymore. Here's where it fucked up, and that you're still with me is amazing, by the way. But
I think so,
that
too.
you care so much about it, and people, if you can't, you got to go. If you haven't seen Brian before, go see him.
You have to.
I have never seen people silly laugh harder than watching you. Sometimes I get a big laugh and then a nod, like, yeah, that was. And people lose their shit, with you, man. It's out of control.
That's very nice.
It's not. I'm not being nice, man. You've earned it. You got 40. We got more than. You got 40 years in now. You're still playing at the top of your game. You're not pissing people off. I never see you in the news offending anybody, and yet you're still one of, and as Seinfeld said, the funniest guy currently working, man. It's an honor to have you on the podcast, and I feel I'm a little fanboying right now, and I want you to know I really appreciate it, man.
Hey, thank you, Chris. That means the world to me, and thank all of you for having me on. I'm honored. I got goosebumps with the compliments, and it means the world to me. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
all right, bro.
Brian.
Take it easy, man. I'm glad you because you don't see the hair and the beard thing. You didn't have to, because I have to dye mine now. I have to dye mine. Yeah, looks good. See you, brother. Thank you.
All right, man. You got it. Later.
All right, later.
Wow.
Wow.
He was, he's a very nice man.
Yep.
He's a very nice man.
Yep.
Weird that he said he was going to retire. I thought I was like, I kind of got.
He didn't say that. He said he has fantasies
about retiring. I don't know, man.
Doesn't everybody?
Yes, normal
Right?
people, just not him. Normal, well-adjusted.
What am I going to do?
You have fantasies of moving to Australia.
What am I
That's
going
a retirement fantasy.
to start comedy again?
He has. You and I both know. So we have the month of May off, and I've been so excited about it. Of course, it's not turning out that way for me with family emergencies popping up left and right. But I was very excited, and then he started going, okay, wait, we could take this gig. We could book a theater tour
Not
in
doing
California.
that. I've decided.
Hold on, we could film the special, add a live stream. Ken will love that.
I did do this.
Yeah. So it's.
By the way, that's my fear and desperation. I have fear and desperation.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
He also ordered a diving board. He's going to remove the metal stand, sandblasted himself, painted himself, and
with the rusty nails coming up through it.
He's going to do he's got all kinds of work coming. So, by the way, to have energy for that, he's going to need Athletic Greens. This episode brought to you by Athletic Greens. May I just say energy again? Let me just say it again. Energy. Do you need it? Then you should try Athletic Greens.
I also have a sense of, for like an hour, a really intense sense of well-being after I drink it, as it's totally infusing my body. I like it.
Well, gut health, if you have a problem with that, hi. Also, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, and aging, all the things that you don't need, right? So if you don't need those, don't try it. But all of us need them. It has 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens. I do it in the morning. I had read that you should do it on an empty stomach. Everybody does it differently. Some people do it after working out. Some people do it for energy before working out. I like it in the morning first thing.
I just don't have a plan for stuff like this. I think here's what I'm usually going. I'm living. I get one of the packets. I put it in the bottle of water. I down it, whether I ate or not, because you still get the adaptogens, right? You still get everything already. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just unorganized about my Athletic Greens intake.
You're disorganized too.
Disorganized. She's an English major, dude. She does this to me all the time.
The words are disorganized.
Just finished the Athletic Greens commercial.
I
It's
love
good
this
stuff,
stuff, and it definitely gives you a feeling of balance. It especially over time after you've been taking it. For me, about a month, I really started to notice this leveling, this balance of all these things like energy. So reclaim your health, arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition, especially in this flu and cold season. All you do is do 1 scoop of Athletic Greens in a thing of water every day. That's it. You don't need to take a ton of different pills and supplements. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of immune supporting vitamin D plus 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/Titus. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/Titus to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance.
It does make a difference. I like it. I really like it. And it tastes good. It doesn't make me, I don't have to get ready. Every time I've had one of these powdered drinks, I've had to get ready for it. I have to be like, okay, 3, 2, and then just try to get it down as fast as possible.
We wouldn't have taken this ad if it had tasted like that old stuff.
Old stuff. Oh, not
yeah. And they all do. They all taste
used to
terrible.
make my eyes water. I mean, my mouth water before I would just stand there in the kitchen. Like,
sometimes we do it together. We'd be like, okay, ready?
Yeah, we did. Support system for your greens. You don't need that. Athletic Greens taste great.
So can I ask you, because I don't think when it comes to this whole thing that the Supreme Court just did, as a man, I really don't get a stance, really. I'm angrier more.
Sure you do.
I do, but my stance is, as a man, I'm not the one who's getting the rules like crushed down.
As long as your stance is supporting a woman's right to decide what she does with her own body, then you can have a say.
But that's what makes me mad. It's like I got it more so. I've kind of had it as a ghost thing in the back of my head, but really what I really got was, you guys are just controlling women. Like, basically women are now again a second-class citizen that have that anything they do has to get watched or seen, or you don't have control of your own bodies. On top of that, they're still making 82 cents for every dollar a man makes. And I started going through everything yesterday, and I was just like, how the fuck is this still going on in 2022? How is this going on in 2022? I don't get it. I mean, and I watched you last night, and we were watching the news about it, and you seem to have this weird a distance from it. You're mad, but you're not. Is it just more of the same?
I feel like right now nothing surprises me, and I said a couple podcasts ago that it does start to feel hopeless, and for me, that all really started in the last administration. It was like, right was no longer right. People were no longer punished for wrong, even if it was a federal crime. A bunch of them, all of these different legislations, like voting rights being rolled back. We came so far. We fought to come so far and to rise up. And so many people gave their lives in that fight for women, for voting rights, for things like that, for all kinds of equality. And in our lifetime, we were just talking about this, we have never seen constitutional rights be taken away, and it's terrifying. And I do always feel like nobody's doing anything.
Right.
It feels
right. Not stopping it.
Yeah. So I said today, and I usually try and be somewhat balanced, and because I have to be, and
what?
I
It's
said,
a survival mechanism. I have it too.
Yeah, totally.
Like, I gotta be an optimist
Yeah,
at some
exactly.
point.
But I think that Biden should go ahead and put more justices on the Supreme Court. We've had it before. There's a precedent. It's been less. It's been more, and the Republicans would have done it long ago, and they wouldn't have asked permission, and they wouldn't have said they were sorry, and they would have probably gone through illegal means to do it, and they still would have done it, and Democrats would still be standing around going, but you can't do that. And I'm tired of it, and as soon as they get in power, it's just going to get worse.
Oh, they're going to steamroll.
So why not do what we can while we have that power? And
so we should just do the new thing should be for the Democrats in 2022. You think you've seen batshit? Watch this. There you go.
No.
And then
Democrats.
Yeah, let's come on.
Democrats will still go through legal channels.
But they're arrogant, though. They actually think Democrats. So we're in a different world. I think you and I talked about this, and I talked about it when I was talking about how the arrogance of they know they're right, factually they're right. They know statistically they're right. They know that when it comes to standing for freedom of all and equality, they know they're right. They know they know they're right,
but they don't know how to fight.
Right, but they stand in being right. And guess what? These fuckers, none of them care.
Yeah.
None of them care that they're right. They're just like, so we're going to take it from you anyway. America. But you're not living in America. You people that keep screaming America aren't doing anything to follow America.
Do you know what I think a bigger problem is?
Besides me, podcast?
If all we're going to do, so you don't like abortion, and hey, newsflash, no one likes abortion. No one is pro-abortion.
Right.
But they are pro-choice. It's a very distinct line. But, a large percentage of abortions, not all, but a large percentage of them do happen after rape. And 99% of rapes are perpetrated by a man. 99%. 91% of those victims are women, 9% are males. So why aren't we regulating men's bodies?
That's what I'm saying.
Why are we allowing every kind of erectile dysfunction medication to be on the market when clearly men have a problem controlling their penises?
It should be illegal. Viagra
Maybe
should be
it's not all women. Maybe Viagra, yes.
Illegal.
Yes.
100%
Or they
illegal.
should have to submit to a lot of questioning.
Yep. There should be a testing
waiting period
Right.
and tests,
Yeah.
all kinds of exams.
Yep.
So we're
gotta take a target test.
We're
Target, yeah,
fine
yeah,
with
you
not
have to-
regulating that at all. Let's let men get more boners for more of the time,
More of the
because
raping.
that hasn't caused any problems at all in the history of the world. Because
It's actually every problem.
it's every.
I just want to be just men's boners have caused everything that's wrong with the planet.
But that isn't even a question. It's not
No.
even a question. It's inherent sexism that you don't even see. It's how we've talked about inherent racism, that people say there's no racism, and yet it's
critical,
everywhere. The country
CST, critical
sexism was
theory.
built on that. We were watching the news the other night, and they were talking about pollution and the rates of death in minority communities
yeah.
versus not minority
Because what
communities.
happens is all the industrial waste, they don't put it in the
goes to
Beverly
those
Hills.
redlined-
It goes in Baker
those
So
Street.
counties.
you look at those
Yeah.
percentages
And
of minorities that are fighting cancer or dead because of that.
Or just poor people, too.
And that's
Poor white
just
people.
our pollution system. This country was physically, literally built on the backs of slaves. And those kinds of policies were instituted long ago. And we don't even see it. We don't even recognize it. But this
Well,
is
they-
an example of that. Tell me one way that men's bodies bodies have been regulated.
They're not, ever. As a matter of fact, they go out of the way to figure out how men can keep doing it. Like you said, Viagra and all these other things where the whole point is...
How could we let him do that longer?
Yeah, he's kind of, so I think if you're a rapist,
go to the
castrated, you should just be castrated. If you get you're guilty of rape, castrated. Let's start going the other way. You want to actually scare this, start making the same rules for men that you make for women. And what bothers me the most, and I don't understand this, that you are smarter than I am. You are more studious than I am. You are my best friend. You are my partner, and I'll give you 51-49%. And yet, when I see what's going on, I kind of go, what the fuck? Like, how? Like, if women ran shit, look, the reason we're here is because of men. Putin's a dude. He just attacked a country. It's not, women would have been like that. They've been like, Ukraine is going, okay, all right, you guys want it done? I don't quite understand what the fuck is going on. So why don't we do this? Why don't we just make it so every man who's a rapist gets castrated? Why don't we make Viagra illegal? Illegal. By the way, as I say in my show, that ain't you, guys. If you're taking Viagra, it gives you a zombie penis. That ain't you. That ain't you. And then because if you just think you can actually just come in and destroy 50 years of set law, 50 years of set law. And I want to point something else out. Every single one of these right-wing Supreme Court justices lied. They lied in their confirmation hearings. They fucking flat out lied. They said, no, it's set law. It can't be changed. Alito said it. Kavanaugh said it. Any crusty butt plug said it.
She didn't exactly say it.
She kind of did.
No.
She said...
She said it wasn't a super precedent.
Okay, so I have a question.
She did say it was established law.
She said it wasn't a super precedent because people have fought it. They've tried to bring cases against it. Well, guess what? We've brought cases against gun manufacturers. We brought cases against the Second Amendment.
This episode brought to you by Feels, because we all need it right now.
I need it right now.
No, we need it for you is what I meant. We all need you to have it.
No, we need it. For
you.
To listen to me.
To have it.
And I need to have it.
No, we need you to have it so we can be peaceful.
I'm mad. It feels like we're falling apart. So if you feel like you're falling apart and you want to feel better, get Feels.
Feels is a better way to feel better.
Isn't it?
So much better for you than other avenues you could take. Feels is premium CBD that is delivered directly to your doorstep, so you don't have to go out into the scary world to get it. They'll bring it to you. Feels naturally helps reduce stress, anxiety, pain, sleeplessness. We've gotten some really cool emails and testimonials about people
it calms you down. It feels better.
Suffer from diseases like fibromyalgia and stuff that cause pain, and how they got relief from that with this. It's pretty amazing.
Headaches.
Definitely helped my mom. Yeah. If you have any questions about it, they have a hotline where you can call for free and find out, get all your questions answered. It works naturally to help you feel better. There's no hangover. Or
Nay?
addiction.
You went Shakespearean
there's
on
nary
that.
a hangover.
Feels to no hangover you shall have. Better you will feel with Feels.
I do decree this.
So, as you guys done, I was going to let him keep going.
The fog of humanity will fade as Feels clears your soul and makes you feel better than you have felt all night.
Heretofore. So
what is wrong today? Something's off today.
you can start feeling better with Feels in many ways that we just talked about.
Makes me sleep better. I
Yes,
wake up
for sure.
better. It makes me.
For
I sleep
sure.
deeper, and I wake up. Feeling like I'm rested.
Rested, yes. Become a member today by going to feels.com/Titus. You'll get 50% off your first order with free shipping. That's feals.com/Titus to become a member and get 50% automatically taken off your first order with free shipping. Feels.com/Titus. Great product. So anyway,
do you notice that there's a vibe today in the podcast? I am depressed about the world right now. I'm kind of I feel yesterday to actually. By the way, whoever released this thing from Alito was a badass. They were like, holy shit.
yeah, but they're gonna be. It's not.
They
Gonna
have
be
to.
good.
How are they going to find him?
Oh, come on.
You think?
You can't escape anything. I mean, you leave a digital trail. You can't. No.
I just thought as long as you took
I
the
always think
copy
it's
out of the
funny.
copy maker, as long as you took the copy out of the copy maker.
Well, the people don't. What copy? Nobody uses copy makers.
Well, I would. That's what I would do. I would have made a copy. I wouldn't have sent it electronically. Hell, Hell no. I'd have just put it in an envelope, made a copy, put it in an envelope, put everything back away, and given it to somebody. No fucking way would I have.
You don't think there's cameras everywhere
Doesn't
at
matter.
the Supreme Court?
No, I bet there isn't. That's why that's why he's so offended. He's so.
I bet we find this person.
The person's going to be a hero. Alito was so offended.
But how can you be rule of law and support this? It doesn't change anything. It's just let everyone know.
It's not a decision yet. But you have to support. You can support the rule of law, and because sometimes law, the tree of liberty, needs to be fertilized once in a while from the blood of patriots and tyrants. And I think this is a patriot. You cannot take women's rights away. It's bullshit.
I know, but this person didn't do anything to change that. It's just it let us know sooner that our rights are being taken away.
But I think they're gonna. I don't know, man. There was a protest today in front of the Supreme Court. I mean, this is going. And actually, Mitch McConnell came out and said, "I can't believe this was done. These people need to be tracked down. They've ruined the Supreme Court." Whoa.
What?
Well, why don't you talk? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Here's the new.
All lawmakers are calling for
the Republican talking point is they can't believe they leaked this.
Yeah.
They're not talking. They're taking rights away from 50% of the population.
They're talking about the leak? Nobody gives a shit.
No,
Yeah,
but
that's all they're talking
But that's
about.
all they got, though. It's funny. I wish the Democrats had the balls and insight and understood. Problem with Democrats, we're all our own people. We all have our own freedom. We're all equal. Got it. But because you guys do that, the Republicans do this. They goose step up, they get together in a line, and they all say the same shit. And then their side just keeps going, yeah. The Democrats need to get serious. I will say this. They called in Mo Brooks this week to the January 6th committee and Andy Biggs. So they're
Before we go to that real quick, I just want to say that it's a hard topic.
Abortion
is a hard topic for most people. And the reason that it became a constitutionally protected right was because so many women were dying.
Yep.
Because women, when they make a decision for their lives, their future, their bodies, or whatever, they're going to do it. And so all they're doing is taking away safe options for women to do it. If you've ever heard the phrase back alley abortion, that's where that came from, because it was a literal truth. Women were going to back alley bodega doctors to get an abortion.
Women have been disfigured because
the
of it?
reason why the coat hanger has become an image associated with abortion is because women were using coat hangers. So, and just to say this again, there's no distinction for women that are victims of rape or women that are victims of incest.
Yep.
So I would be forced to carry to term a child with my father if my father raped me, or my uncle, and they would then protect his rights to help raise that child. And
that's a new law that in Tennessee or Texas.
So you're just killing more women.
That's what I said today. I tweeted. I said, you guys think you're saving babies? You're killing women. I got another.
And the babies at the same time.
I got another question. Why do you? And George Carlin, I'm going to paraphrase George Carlin. You care so much about the unborn, but when they're born, you don't give a shit about prenatal care. Prenatal care. Whether you don't give a shit about health care. You don't give a shit about education. You don't give a shit about child care. You don't give a shit gun violence. You don't give a shit about making sure everybody's fed. You don't give a shit. So
this episode also brought to you, if you need more stress relief, by Sunday. GetSunday.com.
Stress relief? You don't stress relief about it. You were so freaked out about the lawn.
No,
Well, these things save the lawn.
I will kill you. Right. That's the whole
that's what I'm
point.
saying. But I mean, you're stressed about the lawn.
He's so cranked
Sunday.
up today.
You know what, man? I'm in a mood.
You actually just did that noise.
Okay, so Sunday. So I was looking out today. I was upstairs riding the bike before we came into work, and I was looking at the tree in the front yard that we actually took. So these people had this big concrete thing that I busted up with a hammer.
It's an olive tree.
It was an olive tree, but it had this big giant concrete brick thing around it, and I had fun for like 3 days with a sledgehammer. Oh, that was a good couple of days. Well, then we had this. Then we took that thing out, and it looked so much better. But there was a big dirt thing. So Bombshell gets the Sunday stuff.
And I actually ordered, because you can order stuff from them too
Right.
that aren't part of your lawn maintenance thing.
Right.
So I ordered grass seed and then use the stuff they send you. In fact, I just got notification that I have a box coming from Sunday, because I am signed up for the subscription. And it comes like every quarter, and it's got they're bags that you hook onto the hose and then you just spray it over, and it's no harsh chemicals. It's like all natural kind of stuff.
But it's also designed for your soil. They actually
Specifically, yeah.
They actually take there's a satellite. They take a picture of it, your soil. Then you send them a little dirt sample. They're like, well, we've analyzed exactly what you need. So we're sending you a bag full of the exact chemicals to make your lawn thrive. That's what we're doing right now.
Helps you get rid of weeds,
the
bare
tree-
patches, pet spots.
The tree is now that it's all filled in with grass, and it just looks amazing.
Who knew? I didn't know this. I've learned a lot about lawn stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But, like if you have weeds growing on your lawn, after I started using Sunday, I thought you had to go and dig those out individually and stuff. After I started using Sunday products, when you have a healthy lawn, it crowds out the weeds, and so they can't grow there. So we don't have weeds growing. That's why.
Is that why?
Yeah, I read it. I went on their website and I was like, "What is happening?" Yeah,
So we got our lawns all buffed up. What's up, weeds? What's up? What's up? What? Yeah, man. You should go home.
It's no toxic stuff, which we have 2 little Yorkies, so I love that. It has things like seaweed, iron, molasses, things like that. It really works. It's pretty insane. This guy, he likes to lick the lawn from time to time, so we have to protect him from his own dumb self.
Right, he does lick the lawn sometimes, and the chemicals are not harsh.
They also right now, they just sent an email. You can buy fruit trees from them, fruit and different kinds of trees. But I was like,
oh, here we go.
What?
Oh man.
Right now, Sunday is offering listeners 20% off.
She names our trees.
Orenthal, the orange tree.
Yeah. Prudence, the peach tree.
Prudence, the peach tree.
What'd you name the cherry tree?
Cherry. Cherry.
She's not inventive about it. I thought Orenthal was pretty good though.
Well, I don't know what to name Cherry, so you can decide. I named her Cherry because that's a.
She's a stripper tree.
Yeah, exactly. Cherry tree though, it is. Yeah.
Full season plans at Sunday start at just $129, and then you get 20% off of that when you visit getsunday.com/Titus at checkout. That's 20% off of your own custom plan specifically designed for your lawn at getsunday.com/Titus.
On Sunday, to all you people, your products are amazing. Here's what we need you to do. Moles and gophers.
Yeah.
Come up with something for that. Because that's the only thing that's getting in our way right now.
Made my lawn taste too good.
Make the grass get so strong.
The lawn.
Yes.
The blades of grass show up. What's up? Gopher. No, the lawn is so good that the grubs are so healthy that our lawn, and there's a golf course right next to it. And they're like, screw the golf course. These guys.
Yeah.
Our grass looks like carpet.
Our
It's
grass
crazy.
is like that really nice, cool restaurant that like they've got a McDonald's out on the golf
We're
course.
the Beverly Hills.
Yeah, they're like, let's
restaurant,
get. We're the Nobu
Yeah.
for gophers of our neighborhood.
Yep.
Let's go back to this and then we'll wrap it up. I am upset about that our government is taking our rights away systematically. And people, I need you to know, I didn't used to be. I was not this guy. I didn't give a shit about politics. I really didn't. I wrote my comedy. When Obama became president, I was like, that's cool. We got a black guy. Yeah. And then I got involved in it because they've slowly been systematically shaving off all of our freedoms. They took away voting rights. They're taking away voting rights. And by the way, if they cared about kids and they cared about abortion, the kids in fucking Flint, Michigan would have clean water. If they cared like they say about babies, they would take care of babies, and they don't. And so
Gun control. I mean, really, give us a break. How many school shootings do we have to have?
Don't kill babies. Let them die from a bullet in school. That's what we want. And I am to the point now, and I know this isn't being really funny. You guys have to start paying attention because they're taking shit. They're taking your voting rights. They're taking women's rights, and they're lying about it. And
It's
they don't
also
care.
a really slippery slope for the Supreme Court and what they
Yes.
consider their jurisdiction to be and how to apply it. I mean, it's pretty terrifying. So don't think that this will be the last thing.
Alito hinted about what people do in their bedroom. Sodomy and gay marriage. They're opening the door to take all your rights away. What is happening? Like, this is not the country I was taught it was.
Yeah.
Like, what happened?
Yeah.
So here's what we got to do, people. And not to be an activist. I don't want to be an activist. I just want to be a comedian. But when it comes down to the midterms, you have to vote your ass off no matter how long that line is. I might go to Florida and to Georgia and start handing out bottles of water to people. I don't give a shit. Rest me. I'd love to see that. That'd be great. I'm to the point now. I was never an activist.
What he means to say is vote.
Vote. I've never.
And start now. If you're not registered to vote, start now, because states like Texas and Florida, they're making it extra hard, and they're going to reject your first 5.
They rejected 50% of the ballots this last year. And,
so you need time to try again.
Do you know why they rejected the ballots? Because they can't win on policy. So here's the thing. People, vote. Dead serious. How much more do you want to let them take away? They're taking your voting rights. You know, they're Citizens United took away any of your representatives helping you. They're voting for the oil companies. They're not voting for you anymore. You're not paying them enough money. You can't.
You know what you can do is encourage everyone in your circle or in your neighborhood to register to vote, and or if you have older people in your neighborhood, offer to give them a ride to vote if they don't vote by mail, or in states
help
where
them fill out their ballots. Help them get their ballots in and vote, and explain to them what's going on. I don't like what is happening with and I thought when Biden got elected, but then we have 2 people. How does Kyrsten Sinema even live with herself? Because they said we're going to codify Roe, which would mean it would be you couldn't change it, and Manchin and Sinema said nope, we won't. Today. They won't. It's like, so you guys want women to lose their rights? I will tell you this, women, stop having sex with your men. Any guy who thinks this is a good idea, just stop having sex with him. You said someone said, yeah, but then they'll start raping more. And I thought, oh man. Right. Mm-hmm. Right. Well, now I'm like, all women should actually conceal carry. There you go. I'm actually going to be, any dude that gets on you, take him out. I'm so tired of this. I'm tired of this. I am tired of this country that I grew up in, that I live my life based on the principles of it. Free speech, everybody created equal. And these fuckers are just taking everything from it. It bothers me. Why would you ever vote Republican in a million years? Give me one reason. Do me a favor. Go to the comment page. Please give us a reason. I would love to see your reason why you would vote Republican. If you're voting because you don't want dead babies, so you want dead women. If you vote because you want to carry your gun. So we have 691 shootings this year so far. So you explain to me why you want to give rich people more money. Explain to me why. That's what I want to know. Sorry, I'm being so angry, but I'm done. Yesterday pissed me off. You've taken 50 years of settled law, said it in your confirmation hearing that this is settled law. We would not change this law. And the second you could, you did. Liars. Liars.
Fun fact.
And now let's go to the fun fact. Now that we've done the angry fact, I'm sorry I'm angry today, guys. And especially on Brian Regan's day. We may use Brian Regan's thing in another episode. Maybe.
Scientists discovered an organism.
He wants to go do his thing.
You better be quiet so he can read it. He needs to go.
Ken just wants to get to work. I still have to go up and do stuff too. All right, let's do it. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is the Highlander with the fun fact.
Scientists discovered an organism with a disappearing butt.
Wow, can I have it's a Peloton? It's called the Pelotonicious.
The comb jelly.
Ew.
Also known as the warty comb jelly.
Ew.
Sea
it got
walnut,
worse.
or whatever that is, has a disappearing butt. Sydney Tam of the
It's
Marine.
a reverse blowfish. How do I look now? All right, guys. And thanks for ending on a weird one. Could you pick us? Like, it's a weird one. Guys, for myself, sorry for getting so angry today. On a day we had the funny and the amazing and the incredibly talented Brian Regan. I wish it hadn't happened on this day. You know, we always deal with the news the way we deal with the news, and that's how it's going to go. But please go to ChristopherTitus.com if you want to watch a live stream. You can actually get any kind of merch there, DVDs, T-shirts, whatever. Also go to Apple iTunes to get Misanthropics, Highlander's album, and your special will be out pretty soon.
Yes.
All right. Good. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And please subscribe to the YouTube channel. For myself, the Lovely Bombshell Ray and the Highlander. Later.
Peace out.
There can be one.